Welcome, everybody. Black and White, Brian Rundle, and look who it is, Lana Quest, her first show in 2025.
Yeah.
It's her first show anywhere. And if you've known Lana and you've known her career, you know that she's on shows all over the place. She's got her own show. She's got this one. She's being asked to be a guest on other shows. So we are privileged to have the great Lana Quest with us tonight. Lana.
No, just kidding.
Hey. Oh, the crowd's going wild.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes. Happy New Year to everybody. And by the way, the new start time, this might be throwing people off, but I think we let the masses know that we have a new start time at 7 o'clock that we will be doing on Tuesday nights, which I think works out better for us, works out better for everybody, because Lana and I can talk. And usually, I think when we originally did it, we're going to go an hour, maybe a little bit over.
Yeah,
next thing you know, we're at hour 45 minutes.
9:45.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. So we are going to start earlier, and we're going to get going a little bit quicker, so that way we can, get off at a decent time, and everybody can get some rest, spend time with their family, and do whatever it is that we got to do. But thank anybody for joining us tonight. Lana, a lot to get to. I'm sure you saw the press conference with Donald Trump today, but before we get to that, we had a certification of the President of the United States, and somehow, some way, it went off without a hitch. It went off without somebody whining and crying and trying to get people to stop the certification.
Right.
It went like pretty much every single other certification has ever gone in the history of this country. But of course, you still had to have these whiny little babies and these immature assholes who were, of course, showing their ass and showed, just what terrible people that they are and how terrible they plan on being. There was a House member from Nebraska who was being sworn in, and her husband was along for the ride. I believe this is the third time or fourth time she has been sworn in. But as they're swearing her in, the person swearing them in is the Vice President, Kamala Harris. And this was the husband's reaction when she turned to him and said congratulations to him and his wife.
Hi. Do you want to come here, Bruce? No. It's okay. Yeah, we're right. Don't worry. Okay. Okay.
Do you solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States? Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay, sure.
Okay. That way just a little bit. There you go. Thank you so much. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Hold it. Ready? 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, that's enough. Why? Regardless of who you voted for, why is this acceptable behavior?
That's just like, you're a pig. I know everyone's like, you go straight to race, but I couldn't help but think, if Joe Biden was there doing that, would he not have shook his hand? You know what I mean? Like,
Lana, can I stop you there for a second?
Yeah.
And I wish I had it. There's video of because this is her third time or fourth time being sworn in. So there's video when Mike Pence was there. And of course, he basically blew Mike Pence. And there's video. Huh?
Wait, he didn't shake Mike Pence's hand?
No, he blew him, basically, I meant.
I was like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, he was like so excited, that it was Mike Pence. Okay. And then also, too, there was video of when Joe Biden swore him in, he shook his hand. So you are right to bring it up.
Right. So I'm not crazy. Okay, everyone out here watching, when we say we feel something and we get those dog whistles, it's not a joke. Like, it's for real, it's a thing that you feel visceral, like in my soul. I'm like, oh no, that's not a Democrat Republican thing. That's like, Black lady, I don't want to touch you. I don't want to stand next to you. And I don't want to be in this picture with you. Like, it was like, it made my skin crawl. And she handled that like a champ. But let me tell you something. That hit her, right?
Yeah.
Because it's always a shock when you experience that, because that racism that was outward in your face racism. That wasn't like a hidden something. She knew what that was. And like, she handled it. But I know she sat back and was like, wow. But this is the stuff that we talk about, that it still exists in this country. This is the vice president of America, and
Right.
you didn't shake her hand.
And she's being as cordial as she possibly could be in the most tough circumstance you could
Exactly.
possibly be in. Now,
Exactly.
you don't. So that feeling Lana's talking about, it's not just based on race. Obviously, we all have that gut instinct sometime when something doesn't feel right. Lana's talking about, in this particular instance, that she felt it when she saw it. She knows Kamala Harris felt it when she saw it, and what that gut instinct tells Lana and tells Kamala Harris, and we don't know for sure that's what Kamala Harris was thinking, but Lana obviously can speak for herself, that you have those feelings for a reason. And she didn't even know that there was video of him shaking hands with Biden. And she brought it up saying, hey, I would say this, what if Biden was there? Well, Biden was there. And there was a handshake with Biden.
Right. Like I tweeted about it, right? And I put that in the video to show tomorrow, because I tweeted, yeah, this is racist, like this Black woman, because that's what I felt. But I didn't want to just say it here. But I'm glad you gave me that context, because I can use that. Like, yeah, because I kept thinking, like, that was a white man, even a Democrat. He's shaking his hand because it's a mutual respect, because it is a Black man, but because that is a Black woman, and the way they attacked her, calling her a prostitute, calling her stupid, calling her DEI. He was not going to shake the hand of someone who he thinks is DEI
or claimed she was Black.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, Lana, I mean, I know there's hesitancy, to say it, but quite frankly, fuck it. Why? If that's how you feel, then that's what you should say. And I'm done downplaying to fucking people's, sensitivities about everything. And just because now they have taken over the narrative that if anybody brings up DEI, they bring up race, they bring up anything that somebody has a legitimate claim to, now it's looked upon as uncool, or it's looked upon as you're whining and you're doing all this stuff because Trump won this time. I'm not giving in to these fuckers. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck what they think or what they say. It does not fucking matter to me. This is where I think we all can learn. And if you don't feel like learning, fuck off. I don't care about you.
Yeah, I was very upset. I don't know if you saw this tweet, but so this woman she replied to someone else's tweet. And she said on the tweet, because the woman was saying basically, thank you, Kamala, blah, 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 blah. And she responded, you just got on your back and spread your legs. Fuck you, Kamala. So, and I thought it was a MAGA, right? So I went on to their page, and we were mutual followers, and she a never Trumper, like a Democrat, And I'm like, I replied to her, are you out of your fucking mind? What gives you the right to say, oh, well, Russia, China, no one's investigating? I'm like, do you literally think that Democrats, Mark Elias, if they had something tangible, right? I think, I feel, it seems like it appears
That's what MAGA does. That's what Trump does. They
what
do it on
they do.
feelings.
Exactly. And that's why they get turned. Democrats aren't going to spin their wheels in court with I feel. And I'm like, I wrote a tweet today. I'm like, what we're not going to do is do that to Kamala, because a Black woman, because this is what happens. It's like, there's this thing where the system is not even set up for her to win. Like, it just wasn't set up for her to win.
Right.
Then she didn't, on top of the system that you're fighting that's not set up for you to win, you don't have enough time to do this campaign, but you run a spectacular campaign anyway, and you do it joyously. Kamala literally took all of us at a time where we were in despair over Biden.
Yeah.
And she put us on her shoulders, and she ran with us on her shoulders, smiling the whole way. So for you to come now and say Kamala's not fighting, she might as well get on her back and spread her legs. One,
you're playing in.
Right. One, she did fight. Two, what the fuck is wrong with you in this prostitute thing that you're like co-signing with the MAGA? Because
that's what I'm saying. You're playing into the MAGA side of it. Yeah.
That's a weird thing to say. Like, I can understand you're like, she tossed up her hands, but you're like, she got on her back and spread her legs. I'm like, you better shut up.
Yeah, I saw a few of those clowns too. They're posting like, today's the day I am no longer a Democrat. I am becoming an independent, and I'm no longer a Democrat because they are just letting authoritarian. I mean, that's just, like I said, people don't understand. It doesn't work that way. We're not these MAGA morons. We're not Rudy Giuliani. Mark Elias, like you said, he's not Rudy Giuliani who's going to embarrass himself in front of a judge. And when they ask him, why are you here? And he says, I really don't have any proof.
Right, right.
What the fuck are you doing?
And whatever they saw, or like the fires in Georgia or whatever ballots had an issue, that meant that in that state, it wasn't enough that would have swayed it towards Kamala. Like,
correct.
Come on, let's just be real. And then because again, I always wonder, would you say that about Biden? Because you didn't say that about Biden. It's like you're blaming Kamala. Like, she said, fuck you, Kamala, for Democrats not fighting. So why is she the representation of like why is your anger towards her?
I'll tell you what, because this country, Lana, has lost its mind. It's gone. The logistical mind of the country is gone. It no longer exists. And unfortunately, there's too many people making decisions with their non-logistical minds now. And that's a big, big problem. There's got to be a way we turn this around. But speaking of Kamala Harris and just how gracious.
Kamala's at the certification. She grabs that box and she takes off running in the snowstorm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And just start saying, "It's like, yo, fuck that." And just go to Joe and say, "You're president, and we have immunity, and we can do whatever we want."
Lock themselves in the White House and shit.
You know what? Now that you bring it up, fuck it. We should do that. Sounds like a great plan.
It's so nutty.
But anyway, Kamala Harris went in front of the press, which I know this was tough for her to do, and you could tell.
Yeah.
Just in her voice, just in the way, but she knew she had to do it. She did the professional thing. And let's watch the clip. And there is something that is disturbing about it, but let's watch her do her thing. And then
Obviously a very important day, and it was about what should be the norm and what the American people should be able to take for granted, which is that one of the most important pillars of our democracy is that there will be a peaceful transfer of power. And today I did what I have done my entire career, which is take seriously the oath that I have taken many times to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, which included today performing my constitutional duties to ensure that the people of America, the voters of America, will have their votes counted, that those votes matter, and that they will determine then the outcome of an election. I do believe very strongly that America's democracy is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. Every single person their willingness to fight for and respect the importance of our democracy. Otherwise, it is very fragile, and it will not be able to withstand moments of crisis. And today, America's democracy stood.
People are calling her stupid and calling Trump smart. Now, this is where I think could get frustrating for Democrats, and I would say for me, even though what I'm saying is that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden absolutely are doing the right thing, but I am going to use the words, even though you hear these douchebags on Twitter cry harder. Listen, you fucking morons. Yeah, I'm crying. I'm crying for this country. I'm crying for you. I'm crying for all of us, if that's the term you want to use. I'm not literally, tears aren't coming out of my eyes. But what I'm going to say is that it is sort of unfair that you have to, we have people who understand the rule of law. They understand the way the process works. And these are distinguished people who have made the decision that I don't care what they did. I'm not going to stoop that low. There is a part of you that says, though, I kind of want her and Joe Biden to say, fuck you, I'm not going to your fucking inauguration, because even this fucking asshole today can't stop ragging on Joe. Joe Biden was as cordial as he could be with Donald Trump. And then, of course, he still has to shit on him on his way out.
Yeah. Yeah. So can we just go back to Kamala and how we're saying, that's hard on her having to do that certification. It's hard on her doing that certification and how we watched her, kind of struggle. You can see it on her face. Even when she first came out, she kind of did that thing like that, like she couldn't help it.
Yeah.
But she's sad and disappointed, not because she lost, right? It's because America lost.
That's exactly right.
She is sad because she knows what's in store for us. That's why, not because damn it, I lost. No, it's because one, that idiot and a felon, that's a big disappointment there. And two, we're going to be behind the 8 ball in 4 years. It's just the damage that he's going to do. I mean, I know it's not going to be he's probably so far gone, most of the shit that he wants to do, he's not going to be able to fucking, he's just saying, at this point, it just seems like he's saying shit. I want fucking Gulf of America. He's just we're taking Canada, we're taking Finland and New Zealand, and we're taking all these, we're going to be Russia. What the he's just saying, what the fuck? He's just saying shit at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, she is disappointed. She is more disappointed for the country because it wasn't, like you said, it's not like I lost. It's the country lost. And I know my administration would have been way better for this country than whatever the fuck they're putting together over on that side. So,
a bunch of rapists and sexual predators and drunks and alcoholics and his best friends getting these jobs. It's literally mind-blowing how, but you know what? It's not a bad thing. This is actually a good thing because maybe nothing that he wants to do will actually get done because he's got fucking morons gonna be in these cabinet positions. Yes, they'll probably fuck a lot of shit up that we'll have to fix, but they may not be able to actually do things because they're just too stupid. They don't understand how anything works.
Well, you and I talked about this the other day too, is that the sort of the if you want to use the word Trump card in their back of their pocket is that Biden did appoint so many federal judges across the country that it is going to be tough for them to get a lot of the stuff that they want done anyway. But here's the problem, because we have unfortunately, we just have a country now that looks at politics the same way they did Jerry Springer, and they look at the entertainment side of it. And unfortunately, the whole right-wing propaganda machine has already written the script of no matter how anything goes, that it's going to be blamed on Biden, Harris, what they did to the border, and it was just so bad with the border that it's almost impossible to overcome at this point. They're going to make up that sort of story. And the saddest part is the dummies who say to me, cry harder, are the ones who are going to bow down and believe them, and every single word that's written in that script. They're going to go around on message boards. They're going to go around on Twitter. They're going to go on TikTok lives and yell at people about how Biden has opened borders and allowed immigrants in here, and there's no way we can fix it. And
this is hilarious because half of them are upset about the H-1B visas.
These people are they're so stupid. I mean, all these people, they have no idea what they're talking about. Lana, I brought this up. I don't know if you're on TikTok. If you ever go through the TikTok lives, I am going to strongly suggest to you don't.
I can't
because
do it anyway.
It'll drive you insane. I mean, because there's two different things. One, you have some really good live ones that are left people, and they're really good. But the people that they guest up on there, they only want Trump supporters so they can debate Trump supporters. And every one of them, how old are you? 18. Why'd you vote for Donald Trump? I heard one guy today said he voted for him because of his, what was the, it was some policy that he had his first time. And the guy was like, you were 10 years old when he was first president, and you're telling me that's why you voted for him this time? And you could just hear all these young dummies are just regurgitating what they hear on these podcasts. That's all they're doing, and it sucks.
It really sucks because, and that is the scary part, because he has if we thought that he had monopolized the media before, it's gonna be worse now, right?
Yeah.
Like he has all of it, and the only thing that we can do is like have podcasts, have our own podcast, Midas Touch, and like get some of those influencers. I see they're trying to do that with Politics Girl, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
And some other ones to set up like their own we're going to have to do that kind of thing.
Well, apparently the new number one, she overtook Joe Rogan, this Kelsey.
Yeah.
I think is that Jason Kelsey's daughter?
I don't know.
I mean, she apparently is a number one, and she
someone just to pop up like that fast and just be that somebody that big.
I saw her with a picture with Jason Kelsey, so I'm assuming it's his daughter. I mean, obviously they're related in some way, but it is amazing that she is now the number one, and apparently she doesn't, I don't know that she talks politics on her podcast, but she is a Democrat, so I don't know, maybe that's somebody they can use now to combat
show and to get on her show. They're just going. That's Democrats are learning as they go, and I think they did a lot, and they really did fight this time. They just did. It's almost like we get upset, but you fucking can't, because it's like we're fighting the invisible man. Right?
I agree.
It's like lie after lie after lie. It's just it's almost impossible to combat those, just like that presser he did today.
Yeah.
I heard like on MSNBC, the woman was like, my thumbs were getting tired trying to fact check this shit, because you're not going to know the fucking who's paying the most with whatever for the canal. You're just not going to know that off the top of your head, but he's
correct
this shit while he's talking about windmills, and you got to figure it out. Like, that's hard with somebody who just is everywhere. So like we are literally fighting and battle with like invisible people.
I found out, I read that book, Lucky Loser, and I brought it up every week since I read it. People, you please, first of all, if you do read it, it's going to anger you more to realize that this guy got to where he got because literally every single project he put his hands on was either through help from daddy, help from bank, and like all his cash and all the stuff that he always had were just bank loans. He never made profit literally on
Doesn't have cash
anything.
on hand. He doesn't have cash. He may not still have cash on hand.
He doesn't, and he was always having to play catch up with. He was, interest on these bank loans were coming up that he had to pay, taxes on all these properties he had to pay, and he would always make all these deals and like literally put no thought into it. He had a very small staff. You would think that he'd have this huge. He had this Trump organization and all these people. He had a small staff. He would just go on instinct thinking that his name was so big that everybody is just going to be like, oh, we've got to be part of this. Right. And some people were fooled into it. You literally had Forbes magazine that got suckered into putting, when he was like 30 something years old, that he was a billionaire because he told them, yeah, I run my father's business now. I'm in control of my father's business. It was really his father's wealth, but they attributed it to Donald because he lied about now running his father's business, which he never did. Right. So, it was all a big joke. But what my point is that there was a passage in there. He built this golf course in Scotland, or no, I'm sorry. He bought land in Scotland to build a golf course. And he was having all kinds of trouble getting, the course. And he heard that right off the shore where the land was, is that they were going to build windmills there. And that's where his big battles with windmills now all of a sudden. And he's so mad at windmills that every time he hears it, he just loses his mind because he's so fucking stupid.
He doesn't like, I tweeted today, like something must be wrong with the pipes in Mar-a-Lago because he's always complaining about water pressure. So I think like the water pressure in Mar-a-Lago must suck.
All right, so let's get to these.
I know, these are the worst.
This is 4 more years of this. So anyway.
And we got to listen. Like people are like, I can't let I just turn it off. Like you and I, other small podcasters, big podcasters, Midas Touch, and everyone else owe it. Our dues to society is to watch this shit, play it, talk about it, retweet it, put it on our social media, because someone is going to see it and hear it. They're not going to hear it on the local news, right? So we have to get there that way. Like we just do.
Jesus Christ, you kind of just changed my whole view on this, because I'm thinking to myself, do we really have to listen to this fucking nonsense for 4 more years? Yeah. I mean, and we do have to, but you're right. I mean, even if the smallest amount of people see just the clip and then it's not put into context or it's not described in a way as being nonsensical, right, then people won't think of it as anything other than.
Exactly.
So anyway, the first clip here is this clown talking about how he's going to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Let's listen to what President Musk's spokesperson, Donald Trump, had to say about the Gulf of Mexico.
You guys really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change, because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers.
Okay. Captain Dipshit, obviously all over the place. But Lana, you have a good point, because there is one thing he said that I want to read here. He did bring up something about Biden and all the money that he's costing us. And what he's talking about is Biden put in some bans on drilling on the coast, which, by the way, the place where he put the bans, there's really not any drilling going on there anyway. Basically, what he's doing is making sure it's preserved just in case Donald Trump wants to go crazy and start drilling in places that really would produce nothing anyway. So it's important that people understand this. I want to read this to you, Lana, real quick. So it says Biden bans new offshore drilling in most federal waters in last-minute effort to block possible action by Trump administration. President Joe Biden is moving to ban new offshore oil and gas drilling in most U.S. coastal waters, a last-minute effort to block possible action by the incoming Trump administration to expand offshore drilling. Biden, whose term expires in 2 weeks, said he is using authority under the Federal Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act to protect offshore areas along the east and west coast, the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and portions of Alaska's northern Bering Sea from future oil and natural gas leasing. My decision reflects what coastal communities, businesses, and beachgoers have known for a long time, that drilling off these coasts could cause irreversible damage to places we hold dear and is unnecessary to meet our nation's energy needs, Biden said in a statement. As the climate crisis continues to threaten communities across the country and we are transitioning to a clean energy economy, now is the time to protect these coasts for our children and our grandchildren. Biden orders would not affect large swaths of the Gulf of Mexico where most U.S. offshore drilling occurs, but it would protect coastlines along California, Florida, and other states from future drilling. Biden's actions, which protect more than 625 million acres of federal waters, could be difficult for President-elect Donald Trump to unwind, since they would likely require an act of Congress to repeal. Trump himself has a complicated history on offshore drilling. He signed a memorandum in 2020 directing the Interior Secretary to prohibit drilling in the waters off both Florida coasts and the coast of Georgia and South Carolina until 2032. The action came after Trump initially moved to vastly expand offshore drilling before retreating amid widespread opposition in Florida and other coastal states. Trump has vowed to establish what he calls American energy dominance around the world as he seeks to boost U.S. oil drilling, gas drilling, and move away from Biden's focus on climate change. Environmental advocates hailed Biden's actions, saying new oil and gas drilling must be sharply curtailed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to contribute to global warming. 2024 was the hottest on record. Also want to go down. There's one other thing here I want to make sure that we read here. Biden actions build on the legacy Democrat and Republican presidents to protect coastal waters from offshore drilling, adding U.S. coastal lines are home to tens of millions of Americans and support billions of dollars of economic activity that depend on a clean environment, abundant wildlife, and thriving fisheries. Let me see here, Lana, because there's a couple other things in here I want to read. In balancing multiple uses of America's oceans, Biden said it was clear that the areas he is withdrawing from fossil fuel use show relatively minimal potential that does not justify possible environmental, public health, and economic risks that would come from new leasing. And then finally, this is where MAGA people are going to get screwed up, because the new spokesperson for MAGA, this Caroline Leavitt, has said that Joe Biden clearly wants high gas prices to be his legacy, because these MAGA people have been suckered into hearing about Biden shutting down drilling, so that means our gas prices are going to be higher. The spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt, called Biden's action a disgraceful decision designed designed to exact potential revenge on the American people who gave President Trump a mandate to increase drilling and lower gas prices. What's that?
Ain't got no mandate.
Yeah, we're going to go over that in a minute, too. Rest assured, Joe Biden will fail, and we will drill, baby, drill. And then finally, it does say here somewhere that currently the United States is drilling more than they ever have in the history of this country.
Yeah.
And, so anyway, Lana, what do you think?
I think MAGA's stupid. I mean, so yes, that makes sense. We're drilling the most we've drilled before ever. Gas prices are good. People weren't complaining over the holidays about, oh my God, gas prices are so high right now. I can't even travel. People were traveling like crazy. Why? Because the gas prices were good. And I think they were drilling even more leading up to the holidays to keep the gas prices down. Like, I don't understand.
But also, too, Lana, from my understanding, because I'm no energy expert, and I do tend to listen to the experts. A lot of the experts say that we could produce as much oil as we want to here in this country. That doesn't lower gas prices necessarily. Gas prices have a ton of different things that go into it that set the prices for gas. So this idea that we continue to allow people to believe, A, that we're not the most energy independent we've ever been in the history of this country, but B, that drilling more and Donald Trump taking over office and drill baby drill is now going to make gas prices low. This is why this country is fucking stupid.
Yeah, I don't think that he can even drill anymore because we're drilling a lot. And I guess it's you want the reserve so you don't have to depend on getting it from anyone else. I guess that's why you're drilling like that. But the other piece too, I heard Trump talk about coal mines or like the coal industry today in that presser. I don't know, like it was real quick. He said something about getting back to coal. I'm like, wow. MAGA.
He said that the first time. He's just such a clown, and he knows the magic words to say to these people that when you hear these idiots that guest up on these TikTok lives and they go, why did you vote for Trump? And they go, because he's going to drill more and make gas prices lower.
They want to go to the coal mines? That's why.
Oh, it is nauseating. All right, Lana, our next clip. Spokesperson Trump lies again for the umpteenth time about January 6th.
It's not the way life works.
Two questions related to each other. First, you said on your first day of office, you're going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. You know, I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now. So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons. Yes, please.
Lana,
Why
can you
did
explain to me?
What-
Yeah, well, first of all, can you explain to me why nobody has reported that the FBI was involved with January 6th?
That's what he was saying. I didn't even understand that point. That part. They were walking.
He says
out.
that nobody's reported it. I think I know why nobody's reported it, because it didn't fucking happen.
But why did he say Hezbollah?
Well, you know what I think? This is the only thing I can think of. I think that he's so dumb and he's so old now and he gets things mixed up. I think he wanted to say Antifa, and somehow he mixes Antifa and Hezbollah together, because Hezbollah, that's a brand new one for me.
And nobody said anything. We're just kind of like, okay.
Lana, we've been doing that for 8, 9 fucking years with this guy. He's just going, okay. I mean, he's funny, I guess.
Everyone he said is, if Joe Biden did that, they'd be like, Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe, they'd be calling for him to drop out of the race, which they did, which he did.
Mhm.
I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I can't do this anymore because no, I can do it and I will do it. And
You can do it.
this nonsense where this guy just says whatever he wants and the people just stand there and go, I guess, what can you do? This next one, I told you we're going to bring this up. He claims he won in a landslide election. We're going to correct that here in a second after this clip.
We had a landslide election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of people. Nobody even knows how many people, millions.
Oh my
and
God.
They're still counting in some areas. They're still counting the vote in some areas. Can you believe this? What a place. What a horrible place. One of the things we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not totally against that. Some of these states, I don't understand why it takes.
That is ridiculous, but he won and he's still complaining.
Correct. I mean, that I agree with, but that's not like a Donald Trump thing that it's just he says something every once in a while and I'm like, well, that I agree with, but based on what he's saying, it's just still
or something thereabouts. They have places where they're still counting votes.
Okay. Well, the landslide that he's talking about, Lana, let's take a look at that landslide. So I think, again, this is our country's very, I've said this a million times. They're not necessarily stupid people. I mean, there are people who do things for a living that I would never, ever be able to figure out. And I believe that they're very smart in things that they do. But many people in this country are just politically stupid. They see this. They see red here. They see red here. They see red here. They see red here. And they say, he won in a landslide. They see 312 to 226. He won in a landslide. But they don't see this, that he won 49.9% of the vote. You know what that means, Lana? He got less than 50% of the vote, which is less than majority of the country. He won by 1.5 points in the popular vote, which is the third lowest total in the history of this country. And then if you also look here to the right, Lana, let's look at some of these other races. He won Wisconsin 49.7, so he barely won Wisconsin. 50.4 in Pennsylvania, he barely won Pennsylvania. 50.6 in Nevada. 51% in North Carolina. 49.7. You get the picture.
Right.
So the reason, another thing, we're just going to continue to let him say mandate, and we're going to let these idiots go around and say that he blew her out. He barely beat somebody that had 100 days to run. And because we have a politically stupid country, many people did not know who Kamala Harris was and what she stood for.
Right.
She only had 3 months to tell the American people, this is why I should beat a guy that you guys have whitewashed for fucking 9-10 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. She came that close with only a few months with a guy he's been running since the last time he friggin' lost.
This is him talking about all the court cases that he won.
Remember, this is a man that said he wants the transition to be smooth. Well, you don't do the kind of things. You don't have a judge working real hard to try and embarrass you. Because I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong.
Oh my God.
If I did something wrong, I wouldn't be standing here right now because I've won all these cases. Nobody's ever won so many cases as I have against the Justice Department. I mean, Jack Smith had cases all over the place. People were being subpoenaed, lives were being ruined. They were spending everything they had, money. We were helping them out. We had to. They were subpoenaing people that had no idea what they were even talking about. That's a sick group of people. And it was.
You had somebody talking about they don't know what they're talking about. Somebody who clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. By the way, anybody MAGA who watches this now, who watches it later, produce for me one case that he won. Like it went through trial and he won. That's the only way you win a trial. And no, these trials were not thrown out because they didn't have merit. There's trials were thrown because he won the presidency and there was no reason to continue with this because he's just going to pardon himself anyway.
Absolutely.
And there's no time to get the trial in at this point.
Yeah, right. And dear MAGA, he's a felon.
He is a
Like,
felon.
they're going around talking about, well, he wasn't sentenced, so he's not a felon. It's like,
They don't understand.
he's a convict, convicted felon because he was convicted of felonies, right? Technically, right? He hasn't been formal because he hasn't been, but that's just a technicality. He's still a felon. Whether he's
When you see any of those, maybe we can dumb it down for some of the people. When you watch maybe a Dateline 2020, whatever, and you see one of those cases where the husband murders the wife and they go through the whole case and the husband is found guilty.
right.
At that point, he's a convicted felon. And I'm assuming that you're watching 2020 and you're going, well, he's fucked. You wait. He waits for the sentencing now. All you're doing now is just waiting to see what the punishment is to you being a convicted felon.
Right.
If you don't understand the difference between the decision and the sentencing, then you shouldn't be voting. You should be working. I don't know. You might have to do you ever see the movie Billy Madison?
No.
Adam Sandler, where he, in order to take over his dad's company, he had to go back to kindergarten and go all the way back through high school. I think we need to do a Billy Madison with a lot of people.
It's just bad. It's just really bad because how can you listen to him?
I don't know.
And not go, oh. He's just not talked so much because he sounds crazy. Every time he talks, he sounds crazy. The great
Perfect segue to the next clip.
People that I can rely on, but the 625 million acres, people can't realize it's like the whole ocean. Take an acre. You know, an acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal. Now you multiply that by 625 million acres. It's like, feels like the whole ocean. And
Okay. I don't know. If anybody speaks Trump, if you understand what he said, you can explain it to me and you can go, these two are idiots because they don't understand what he was talking about. I'm fine. I'm an idiot because I have no fucking idea what he's saying. And there's context to it, I'm sure. I don't care that there's context to it. Please explain it to me.
But who uses that? Even if you're talking about how big a country is, like that's just a weird way to explain it. Like it just doesn't make any sense. What the fuck are we talking about? Multiply an acre by 600 million. Like, where the fuck are you getting these numbers from? You're just kind of like, that's the guy y'all voted for? Like that guy?
I also think too, again, he's so simple-minded. He hears the word acre, he associates it with his real estate, what he thinks is a real estate business. So he gets excited because he goes, I know the word acre. So now I can sound intelligent about it.
It's a beautiful word.
It's a beautiful word. I know acre. Nobody knows acre better than me.
Exactly. No one says acre. I just
Yeah. In fact, I made up the word acre. Oh man. 4 more years, Lana. 4 more years.
Hopefully.
All right, just a couple more things. It appears, Lana, as if President Musk is starting to get a little bit under the skin of old Donald. This just came out. And by the way, let's just keep in mind and remember, we haven't even started yet. They haven't even taken office yet. And here's a story that just came out. Headline says that Trump is reportedly complaining about Elon in private and hates the President Musk joke, which is why everybody needs to continue to keep that up. President-elect Donald Trump has been complaining about his first buddy, Elon Musk, behind closed doors, according to a reporter. Trump and Musk have become close in recent months, with the tech billionaire reportedly staying at the cottage just a few hundred feet away from the main house at Mar-a-Lago. Trump also tapped Musk to co-head the ridiculous Department of Government Efficiency. I threw in the word ridiculous, by the way, but that appears to be trouble in paradise, according to Maggie Haberman of the New York Times. Trump does complain a bit to people about how Musk is around a lot.
Yeah.
She said that on the Kara Swisher show. Musk has been a major donor to Trump this campaign cycle, and he's sort of tied into various areas around Trump, which makes things more complicated. Musk seems more willing to irritate Trump than a lot of the other people have been, and less concerned about what it might mean, of course, because he's got the money and he doesn't care, and he's got the ego.
Yeah.
It's a fraught relationship and has potential for becoming even more so. The pair became so close that some dubbed the Tesla CEO President Musk. But the president-elect swiftly addressed that during a speech in Arizona last month. No, he's not taking the presidency. That's not happening. Asked about how Trump reacted to the President Musk line, Haberman said it definitely bothers him. Trump is not a wind-up toy, but there certainly are very specific things that can zotst him. That's a very interesting use of the word. But finally it says, but she predicted that once Trump takes office, this will change a little bit. He doesn't anticipate that Musk will go to the West Wing with him, and Trump keeps people around for a long time if they feel they are if he's of use for them, and totally never closes the door to somebody, whether they're rich or not. But Musk comes with something that President Steve Bannon did not, which is a lot of money. And she added that others in his circles are struggling with how aggressive Musk can be in their interactions, but she believed that they wouldn't admit it publicly. So that is already starting, Lana. We haven't even taken office yet.
No, that's going to be just a mess. Like, there are going to be fights between his staff, the administration before with Trump, and then Trump will be last. Oh yeah,
it sounds like it already is happening.
Trump is older too. Like, older people just don't like being around annoyance. Like, things are like bothersome, and Musk seems like he doesn't know when to go home. He's that guest that's just like
the thing that wouldn't leave.
And he's staying in one of Trump's cottages. I bet that cottage is like all gaudy and shit. You know what I mean? Like, Musk is probably looking at that place like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's probably rich, gaudy looking, which Musk is probably used to, like, high tech, expensive, and Trump is cheap rich. Like, he's not that guy.
You know what's funny, Lana? That brings me back to the book that I read. There's a couple things, like he was having meetings with somebody that he was trying to get a big sale from, and he had him up at his place, and the guy was looking around because he was with another guy, and he expressed to him, he's like, what a gaudy, and it was just, he didn't expect it to be like that. And the guy started taking pictures of the portraits that Trump had on the wall, and Trump would say no pictures. And the reason is because these pictures were supposedly like rare art, but it turned out, and both of them knew it, that they were cheap knockoffs, and they weren't even real art in his own place, in his own apartment. They were also saying too, you would go into Trump Tower and you would go into his casinos, you would go into, nothing smelled of luxury. Like, they were chipped, like furniture in there. It was just like the carpets were moldy.
I was going to say the carpets look like they smell.
Yep.
That picture of Mike Johnson and Trump in front of at Mar-a-Lago in front of the exit sign, and I'm just like, why does it still look like this? This is
right.
Like, it shouldn't still. I mean, why does it look like this? Like, everything, like the picture, everything around where they're taking it. It's almost like, here's the good spot. Always take the pic, because all of the pictures are always in a certain area. Remember the video when the Hungarian friggin' oligarch went to Mar-a-Lago and they had like the band out there and Trump was on that cheap ass stage? Like, it just looked so, ew, like 70s. Like this, Trump is cheap. Who's he paying to renovate Mar-a-Lago?
He doesn't.
Right.
That's the thing. He doesn't. He didn't even pay to renovate his own so-called hotels. He didn't renovate anything. And by the way, you know why he couldn't? Because he didn't have the money to do it anyway.
Right. So it's like these people are just placating him because he's just gotten. I mean, you gotta say he's got the gift of gab because he's put himself in this position of power where people just fucking bow down. But the other piece is that they know he has connections, and they also know that it's like they're bowing down, but not. It's like they'll placate him because they know they can get something in return. So it's like, if I gotta, like Zuckerberg or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yep.
If I gotta say this shit, then I'll get my tax cuts. He'll leave my company alone. Like, fuck it, I'll just do it. It's like, I'm not a fucking coward. I'm doing what's best for my fucking company.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guess, but it's like he's got all the money in the world. So like, it's like stand up a little bit, but
I agree. I don't understand it because you're right. Like, how can he truly touch you? It's not, he can't make you poor.
Right. Right. He can't. But, also, too, when you take over those companies, you have this massive ego that you don't ever want anybody being able to touch your stuff. But, there's this you were bringing up something about how he's got the gift of gab. There is there is something to that going around and acting as if, right? That act as if you've got it. And if you even act as if you've got it, you might be able to pull off the prettier girl that you would never be able to get or whatever the case is. But what I will say is that Donald Trump has an advantage. You can act as if when your daddy hands you money all the time when you need to be bailed out, when your father passes away, you get hundreds of millions of dollars to get bailed out again. And the other thing, the only thing he really made money on was his father passing away and The Apprentice. And The Apprentice he had nothing to do with. None of that was his brainchild. None of it. It was all Mark Burnett, who made him millions and millions of dollars. Other than that, he was a disaster.
Kind of like Elon, right? Like, it's not like Elon was back designing Teslas.
Right. Except at least the only thing about Elon is Elon had a rich daddy too. And he basically just walked into these companies. He took them over somehow. He didn't develop any of them. He didn't develop PayPal. He did not develop Tesla. He didn't develop SpaceX. He didn't develop any of these projects. They're all government subsidized too. Tesla, SpaceX, all these things. And he suckered people into making them believe that he is the one that discovered it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. What I will say for him, at least he was able to take any of the money and any of the things that he made and made profit of it. Of course, his purchase of Twitter is an absolute disaster. But you know what? It worked out for him because he bought that to buy the presidency of the United States, which he successfully did.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's gonna make him overstep, which we're gonna find out.
That's exactly right. And again, Elon's got that attitude, like he's almost robotic about it. Like, I am taking over the world and nothing's going to stop me. Not even this old fucking douchebag who people bow down to. I promise you, I will get them to bow down to me. Now, we'll see how that battle plays out.
Yeah, and let's see where he is in 4 years. It's going to be an interesting thing when because Trump is lame duck. He's only got 4 years. So, like, you just go back to Twitter just being Twitter. Like, even if it's another Republican president, hopefully not, God willing. But, like, I don't think you're going to be in the same position. Like, you're just not.
That's what I say. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because if there is a battle where they either piss off Trump or they piss off Musk, what if Musk says, all right, well, I'm turning this into a anti-Trump website? What if I'm,
Right. That's the part that's the tricky part for Trump, right? You just go with this shit and start losing your staff, because your staff's going to be fighting with Elon. Vivek and Elon are going to fight. Like, it's just all going to be a fucking mess.
because really, Lana, what is more powerful, and who would be more powerful in this thing? The guy who runs the entire country, or the guy who runs the #1 social media platform where people get their news?
Right.
So it's a hell of a battle, and it seems like one that could play out at some point. So we'll see how that works. But all right, last segment of the show, Lana. It's going to call something that'll make us smile, at least. I got 2 last clips that I believe will make us smile. I don't know if you remember or not that you and I had talked about this, and maybe I think you got confused a little bit about the difference between professional wrestling and UFC.
Yeah.
Like they're two. UFC is the Joe Rogan, the Bro, and the Dana White. Those brainless dipshits who are in love with MAGA and Trump. And the WWE and wrestling fans are different. They are a little bit more liberal than the UFC fans. And I know this only because I grew up a wrestling fan. I haven't watched it in years, but the WWE made its debut on Netflix the other night. Netflix has bought the WWE and they're playing their shows. Well, when something like that happens, it's you bring out all the big professional wrestling stars. And one of the stars that they brought out was one Hulk Hogan, who is obviously very known in the wrestling circles. He's obviously, if you were to have a Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers, he would certainly be on it, because if it not for him, he kind of was like the beginning of the whole thing. Anyway, he came out the other day, and this was the reception he got.
Nice. Right. Go to UFC!
Well, let me tell you something, Robert.
Very, very loud boos for the Hulkster, which, by the way, usually when he makes an appearance on these shows, the crowd goes nuts because it's Hulk Hogan. He was always
I
a
remember.
star.
I used to watch like his reality.
I was a Hulkster.
Years and years ago, that reality show, his daughter and his wife and all of them fucking Botox and surgeries. It's crazy.
I grew up a big Hulk Hogan fan. When I was a kid, I was a Hulkster. I loved Hulk Hogan. But, that obviously has to do with his choice in what he's decided that he's going to become political now. Right. And, the people, in fairness, that was in the state of California. But, it wasn't in Alabama, because I'm guessing if it was in Alabama, you probably would have had a different reaction. Yeah. But, it is fair if we're going to continue to play the reaction that we're going to see Donald Trump get in Alabama football games, then we're also going to show the reaction that he gets in California wrestling venues, the place where he is supposed to be the biggest star.
Right.
So, and last clip, Lana, just Joe Biden's at a point now where he's like, I don't give a fuck no more. You guys think you're going to come at me? I'm coming back at you. Listen to Joe Biden bite back at these dumb fucks.
I know more world leaders than any one of you ever met in your whole goddamn life.
Yeah. Tell him, Joe. Joe's like done. He's like, you know what, you motherfucker.
He should have been done 2 weeks ago. He should have been saying that shit, but that's okay, Joe.
Yeah, probably. But you know what? Joe's on his way out, and Joe's, this really makes me sad, Lana. It makes me sad because, first of all, right now, Joe Biden's not going to get the credit that he deserves. I also still believe, I don't care what anybody says, he wins this election. And he wins this election because he's a man. He would have won the election because if Kamala Harris came that close to beating Donald Trump, Joe Biden would have beaten Donald Trump. There's no question in my mind.
No, I don't think those people that sat out would have come to vote. And I think more people would have sat out. And I also think that he still wasn't getting those people with that Gaza. They were not going to vote.
Yeah, but you know what I think though? I think the biggest shift was men not voting for women. That was the biggest shift.
Yeah.
And I do believe that you would have had, especially a lot of the Latino men, they would have voted for Joe Biden.
I think they just would have sat out, but you could be right. I just don't see it. He was, well, you know, polls were apparently wrong. So
I mean, because you see how close Kamala Harris, and if you have a lot of people who say I'm not voting for a woman, and she came that close,
right.
I mean, really was the difference that she's not a man? So if she was a man, she would have won. And I still believe
but a lot of
somehow.
Came out and voted for Trump. Like the young people were voting for Trump. Like I don't.
Yeah, there was. I think there was some of the new younger voters, but I do believe you had some of the shift that just voted for Trump because he was the man. And if I'm voting for somebody, I'm definitely voting for the man over the woman. And I also do think, and we talked about this before, we're still thinking about Joe Biden when he left the race. The Democrats would have had been forced to get their act together, and they would have been forced to basically say, we're putting our best foot forward. We don't give a fuck. We're going to defend Joe Biden all the way to the end, and would have been able to at least paint a better picture to at least say, look, it's either this guy or it's this guy. You know, I don't know. Even if I'm wrong, I still want to believe that Joe Biden would have won. And I still believe Kamala Harris would have won had she had another 3 months.
I believe that. I don't know about Joe. Like he couldn't get the arguments together. Like he wasn't able to get out there what we were fighting for anymore. Like the surrogates had to say it. Like he was just having a hard time, like on abortion, on Project 2025. Like I don't think I've even really heard him talk about Project 20. Maybe I did, and I just don't even remember. Like it wasn't forceful anymore. So. Yeah,
I wonder what would have happened because there would have been a second debate. I would have been very curious. And I don't even know going into it. I'd have been like, can I watch this? I don't know if I can watch it.
He wouldn't have won a second debate. Trump lies too much. Joe couldn't catch him. Like, you know, it would have been fighting the invisible man. Like you can't not debate him unless you're masterful.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been able to do that, but
we also saw Kamala Harris did debate him and absolutely destroy. I mean,
right.
It's one of the worst beatdowns in debate history. Yeah. And you know, again, I think that's what there was a comfortability with a lot of the Democrats, myself included, that going into it, I was like, I can't see her losing this. I just can't see it. And she lost, and so now we move forward. And we keep doing our thing, and that's all we can do.
Yeah, of course.
So, but all right. Well, Lana, first look at this 8:06 done.
Yeah, and it's so early. Like I get to go and do something.
Normally, we'd only be 6 minutes into the show.
God, it's so it'd be so late. Thank you for accommodating.
Hell yeah. I told you. You just tell me. I mean, I'm pretty flexible on the schedule. So if there's anything you need to tell me, you tell me. But I got something to tell the audience.
Go ahead.
This is very important. Okay. Lana, everybody's going to want to hear this. Guess who's making her return on Thursday night in 2025?
Oh, me!
The Lana Quest Show will be back.
I was about
live
at 7:00 too, because I was gonna say like a part of it too is because you know it's not summertime, so it's dark.
Yeah,
it's also really cold.
yeah, it's cold here. Yeah, we're in the 30s here,
and it's 19 here. Like it's biting outside, so it's like all the combination of those things is hard to get up. 4:30 in the morning, be cold as out.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So, but anyway, this will be our new time, 7:00. We thank anybody for joining tonight. Please join Lana on Thursday night on the Quest Show. If you can't join her live, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you can get all of her content later on. And then rejoin us next week at Tuesday night at 7:00, our new starting time.
What's her face? What's her name? God, why did I forget? Juggernaut.
Baby Juggernaut. I
Where
haven't
is
seen
she?
her in a while.
Wait, was she on Twitter? Like, did you know her from Twitter? What do you know?
I think I'll be honest with you. I think she just joined in on our show. She saw our show and became a subscriber.
Oh, we can't find her because I was gonna say maybe tell her that our show is on.
I haven't seen Angel has been she's been on the last few shows. I've seen her pop in. So she's been on. But Baby Juggernaut, it's funny you bring her up because I've not seen her in the last 3 or 4 shows because I've done a couple of solo shows and I might do 1 or 2 this week too. So hit that notification bell and please like and subscribe this show if you don't mind. But yeah, I'll start letting people know that 7 o'clock will be our new time. So, but anything, Lonnie, you want to end with anything? Anything you got?
No, let's go, guys. Like we just have to
fuck out of here.
I know, but just keep fighting. Like it's not over. We can't.
No. We think we're gonna lose to I mean, I guess we lost these clowns.
Yeah, but we don't want.
You think we're gonna lose to them again?
We don't want to self-suppress. Like,
no,
you don't lose a battle until you stop fighting. Like
that's right.
That's when we lose. Like it's hard. And I keep telling people, it's like you feel this way. You feel like, oh my God, Twitter and the trolls, right? When we won, the trolls were nasty too. Like it didn't matter. They haven't changed.
Right.
It's just because we're on the losing end of it. So you're feeling butthurt and it's harder to deal with because we're not on the winning part. So, again, we got to take the punches and fucking come back up swinging.
There's absolutely no question about it. That is very well said, which Lana and I are going to continue to punch the shit out of anybody that gets in our way. And, we hope that anybody else out there that is on the same team as us has their gloves on and is ready to fight. Because that's all we could do at this point. There's no sense of bitching and whining and complaining until gas prices and grocery prices and everything else goes up. And then we'll all complain together.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of the MAGA joins us because you're going to at some point. Dummies.
They will.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, they won't admit it. So.
Oh no, they won't. That script's been written for them. As I said, they'll follow the script, whatever the script writers for MAGA have come up with. It'll still be Biden and Harris's fault, no matter what. So,
absolutely, Obama, Hillary.
Oh, they'll still go back. Some of Hillary's fault. I mean, they'll go back to Kennedy. So, they'll still go back to Jimmy Carter, who rest in
Jimmy Carter's fault.
Yeah,
this Jimmy Carter as he's being like eulogized.
Right. Yep. Still his fault. So.
Baby
Juggernaut. Look, wait, by the way, real quick before we go.
Oh.
Look who decided to make a comment. I'm listening. I'm back. Like most of us, I just needed some time. I do not blame you. We had a chance at the utmost female leader and America turned their back, was sad and regrouping. Love your shows. Thank you both. Thank you, Baby Juggernaut. Thank you for your comment. And thank you for joining us. I hope you heard that our new time is going to be 7 o'clock. I definitely don't blame you because as Lana and I were saying right before the show started, that, I've taken a break from a lot of the shows that I was like literally dedicated to. I would listen to them every time they came on, Pod Save America and the Daily Show, all that stuff. I would listen to it like crazy, and I had to take a break myself. So nobody blames you for taking a break, but we're all back, and we're going to be battling until we can't battle no more, which is not going to happen.
I can't see. Oh, I can see comments now. Oh, everything looks so different. Did you change your
No, I didn't change anything. Are you still? You can see the comments. You can.
Now I can. There was something in the way that says check out the brand. Something like everything is black. Maybe it's my background.
They changed some things here on StreamYard, but anyway, we'll and I'll make sure because you said you couldn't add yourself.
Yeah, no, that was weird. When I popped in, I'm like, why can't I add? Why can't I do anything? But maybe because you had added. I don't know.
Look at this. We were talking about getting off at 7 minutes ago, and we still. Good night, everybody.
Yes, good night.
Good night, Lana. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
You too. Happy New Year.
Hi, Baby Juggernaut. Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.